See you next time. Bye-bye. Cheers. Oh, my gosh. Bye-bye.
Okay, so welcome to our Christmas special video here at Back to Classics, the first one of the first year when we started with your YouTube channel, in fact, with all the videos that we've made. So we thought about making a sort of a short recap of what we have done over the last year, 2022. Of course, a lot has happened here in the workshop. A lot of Ducatis passed through. Restorations finished, restorations started, all kinds of repair works, small services that we've done. So a lot to talk about. But let's start with the first video that we've made a few months ago, and that was about giving you a sort of overview of what we do. It's titled "Welcome to Our Workshop," in which we show you around a little bit. Hello, I'm Arne. I restore Ducatis, and this is my shop. And here's Grover. Here's where we have projects in all stages where we're working on, and here we have a workstation for metalwork. Here's our workbench where we rebuild engines.
Hello people, my name is Harm. I'm the senior here. Mostly I'm working here on engines.
So upstairs we have more projects and bikes that we are going to work on. Like here 200 Elite that we will restore in the future. So here's a project that we have recently finished. This is a 1972 Ducati 750 GT. And that was followed by one about the 750 Supersport engine rebuild. In fact, the two engines that we've rebuilt this year, of which one was photographed professionally, and both are now finished. As we speak, we're still working on the restoration of both the bikes, and we hope to be able to show you both bikes finished in the next year when we will have all of that done. And today we're going to discuss the 750 Supersport engine, 1974, also known as the green frame. So first up are the crankcases, obviously. And these have been aqua blasted and completely restored to get them fresh and clean. Next up is the crankshaft that has also already been rebuilt. So here you can see how the gearbox is being assembled for the first time. So we're off to Lekkerkerk, to our good friend and photographer Ernst Klip, to have the 750 Supersport engine photographed.
Good morning.
So that brings us in a unique situation here at Back to Classics, because we have not one, but two original 1974 Supersport engines now finished after rebuild. Third video that we made. Yeah, we started the rebuild of a 200 Elite engine. Also another something we're working on still, and hopefully we'll be able to upload a new video explaining more about that very soon as well. 200 Elite Ducati, and we're starting with the engine rebuild. The first incarnation of the Ducati single overhead cam engine. So we're a step further with the disassembly. As you can see, we removed the outer covers, but now when I remove this, you see right here, broken off piece of aluminium. So that needs to be replaced. So going further with the disassembly and inspection of our 200 Elite project, we have now further disassembled the cylinder head, as you can see here. And again, we found some issues with this. So valve guides need to be replaced as well. These are not the originals, they have been replaced at some point. This is the original piston probably, with the extra lower oil scraping ring. So we're nearly done with the disassembly of the 200 Elite engine. So not original for a 200 Elite, but still it would make sense to replace these with completely new items that'll do the job just fine. So that concludes the disassembly phase of this project. And well, we have drawn up a document detailing all there is to do on the rebuild of this engine. And we did a video on the 350 Scrambler, which we took out on a little drive. Explained to you a little bit about what the Scrambler was all about and what makes it such a fun bike to drive. Maybe not in this winter season, although we just saw that Santa Claus drives a bike that's quite similar to that 350 Scrambler. Not the exact same, but I thought it was an RT as I looked about it. But it's, yeah, like I said, it's very similar to the Scrambler. So that is maybe something you want to have a recap on. So what better day is this than to take a 350 Scrambler that we did some work on recently. Some further work that we did on this bike was a new paint job. So here we can see what we call the first series of the wide case Scrambler models, this being a 350. So we stopped here in beautiful polder in Bergambacht, real typical Dutch countryside. And well, told you that I was going to tell you a little bit about the driving of this Scrambler. It's a beautiful driving position, in fact, with a huge handlebar, giving you all the control you need. Then we had a video about the Mike Hailwood, in fact, the one that you see right there. The first part of the restoration video, of which we later made a second part when it was completely finished. So someone went to the paint shop today. Look at this. Some more here. And even more here. So let's unpack this thing. In fact, at the end of the year, 200 were built. They all came with a certificate. And we're now going to pair this engine with its original frame and start the rebuild of the complete motorcycle, in fact. So here we have the parts that have been freshly painted. And now with the frame mounted, we can now also refit the outer covers. At least the alternator cover and the clutch cover on the other side. So, next job is to rebuild the rear shocks. Original Marzocchi rear shocks. And how they did it is, if I show you the top, is they a sort of steel washer on top, which has been tapped in place. Success. So now we have made the chamber for the new seal, and we're now going to get the dust cap a little bit deeper as well. Fit again to its connector and leave that in place. And then when we switch on the light, it should come on again. And it does. So, all the electrics are working, ignition, well, you saw the rest. As you can see, we're on board the 1979 900 Replica after it being completely restored. Now fully functioning, adjusted, everything done. So we're making some good progress here with the Replica rebuild. We can see the engine was running and running perfectly, in fact. So we now have the bike ready. Ready, in fact, as much as it can possibly be. And we always make sure that the original engine seal is kept with the bike. It also came with a certificate, as you can see here. Have a stopover and see the bike for what it is. Now completely finished, of course. Beautiful bike to drive. For us, this is another project done. We showed you a video about the rebuild of a crankshaft and how we go about that. That was actually the crankshaft in that bike as well, so that's it's a subject we've discussed in many of the videos, this Mike Hailwood replica. So this the crankshaft rebuild. So these are the original crankshaft webs that have been cleaned out. Next up is a set of original but refurbished conrods.
I'm going to measure the distance between the crank pin hole in the webs.
So here you can see the finished crankshaft, which has all been aligned using our special heavy copper hammer. When we pulled it apart, we found that the clearance on the bearing was beyond the threshold, meaning above 0.03 of a millimeter. So this crankshaft is well, completely rebuilt, good to go, and we'll take it from there. This will be used obviously in our complete restoration of a 1979 Mike Hailwood replica. And then we also made a video about the 1975 Super Sport, the 750 Super Sport 75, the restoration project that we actually started. That will be the video series, in fact the first video series, which will cover the complete restoration from start to finish. So we started with the bike as it came to us, we took it apart completely. In the next video we also took it apart, the engine completely, and had a full assessment of all the parts. And we're now in the process of having the parts shipped out to our trusted suppliers for a lot of surface treatment, like painting and chrome plating, which is now all coming back. So that will be part 3 of the video, when we can show you all the parts nicely done and ready to go. And so that was a video actually done in 2 parts. Today is the start of a brand new project. It's going to be the restoration of this 1975 Ducati 750 Super Sport. Okay, so this is the condition the bike was brought to us. We actually did not do anything to it yet. So let's remove this one, this side cover. One can argue whether this is original. I don't think it is. Something not original at all. These shouldn't be there, these brackets. That this rear mudguard is not the original. That's a much later version. Quite remarkable for this bike to still have the original ignition system. We see here a part that says Bimota, which indicates it's not for a Ducati. Correct instruments, albeit they are fitted in the wrong way. So we made some good progress with the Super Sport. Now with the mudguard fitted as it should be. So that needs some repair of the fiberglass unit below. Well, what I found here, some incorrect electrics. These 2 fairings. On the left you see the one that came with this bike, but is in fact one from 1976 onwards. So this concludes the first phase of this 1975 750 Supersport restoration. So as you can see, we are well underway in phase 2 of this 1975 Ducati 750 Supersport restoration project. And here we have the bodywork that came off the bike that is now ready for the paint shop as well. Now taking it to the next step, and here are some parts that are coming along for the engine disassembly. The crankshaft needs to be positioned correctly in order for these 3 pins to get through. There we go. With the drive side disassembled, we have the clutch here. Well, nothing to worry about at this stage. It all looks very good. As we discussed before, this is the original Ducati Electrotecnica ignition system, and these are problematic. As you can see here on the engine, this side, the drive side of the engine is now empty, and we're now going to continue to the cylinder heads. Here we go. The cylinder heads have been completely disassembled. No big issues found with rockers, camshaft, everything in good order. We're now going to take off the cylinders and pistons and see what we find there. 0 in this direction, so this means the cylinder is oval. So we're about to split the cases. That's a big mess, but nothing we cannot sort out. So only one job left, and that is to get the crankshaft pressed apart. As you can see, everything is taken apart and sorted to go to the next phase, which is the shipping out and waiting for our respected suppliers. So what else did we do? We made a video about the, as a sort of a buyer's guide to how to go about building your collection, or maybe buying your first Ducati, and what we can do to help you with that. Okay, so that brings us to the subject of price versus quality. Not to blame them, but sellers always try to get the highest price for their offering. The purchase price should reflect the quality of the bike that it is in at that moment. Make a plan and stick to it. Step 1 is to decide on the purpose. Now, what we have here, for instance, a 750 GT. You can actually take this out for 2 weeks if it's all 100%. You can take it on a holiday, so it's a very good long tour. And Scrambler, on the other hand, is much more suited for, like I said, the sunny Sunday afternoon. Well, of course, winning the lottery will make life very easy for us Ducati enthusiasts, because then we can buy whatever we want. So we can now choose which model suits our needs in the best way. Stay with original is always the best investment, definitely on the long term. But today we can use the internet to our advantage. There's a lot of these websites that I'm sure you know. A lot of restorers, they cut corners, not all things have been addressed, so it's time to really enjoy it, take it out on the road, drive it as much as you can. It has to be 100% original in order for the resale value to be as high as possible. We would like to be part of the complete process of you purchasing a new classic Ducati. Our details can be found on our website, of course, and we hope to be sure to help you as best as we can. Also, we made a video about a wonderful 2 bikes that we had in for service this year, a Montjuic and a Santa Monica F1. This was quite remarkable to have them in both at the same time, which was made it possible for us to make this video featuring both of them. So the first of the special editions of the F1 that came about was the Montjuic, as we can see here, based on the 750 F1. Well, they named it after that circuit, indicating the build number. This here is example number 50. But it goes up to about 200, top shelf for what was available in that year. Engine-wise, again, Ducati really did a great effort of tuning that engine. So after the limited run of the Montjuic, Ducati did a second limited run, and that became the Laguna Seca. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a Laguna Seca at this moment here. Someone went in there replacing a lot of wires in the wiring loom, which was a bit of a mess, but we, well, all that is sorted. So let's actually take them out. Yeah, well, this, the bodywork, the position, it all adds up to being a true racing bike, especially the monture. But apart from that, they're very fun to drive, very solid, and they give you a lot of confidence if you get used to the geometry. Then I made a trip with a few friends of mine through France, which we discussed in a video on the 900 SD Darmah, which I drove there, which was a very nice trip, and actually up for a trip for next year. We're thinking about a new destination, so maybe in the comments you can guide me to where we should take our trip for 2023. This is a 1979 Ducati 900 Darmah, and in fact my personal bike, to which I've done a number of upgrades. The drawing board included engine upgrades. The design was done by Leopoldo Tartarini. It was a known designer for Ducati, as he did the 750 Sport a few years earlier. Being a sporty bike, one could also buy a Super Sport, which was even more sportier. So the SSD was a bit of a strange bike, so to speak. Most of the upgrades are electronic. Where we drove this bike with two good friends of mine up to around the area of Dijon, as we can see later. We are restoring a very special and very rare 100 Gran Sport Mariana, and that we recently finished on our YouTube channel. This is the first video in a series of many videos that we're going to make as we go along with this restoration. It's a huge project that we've taken on. So that was something that we've done a lot of work on this year. First introduced in 1955 as the one we see here. And actually the first bike Fabio Taglioni designed for Ducati after he was hired there in the same year. So it was actually a very, very rushed job to get this bike designed and actually working. And they were hugely successful. There are very few, if not any, original Gran Sport left in the world. Now at some point someone decided to restore it to what looked to be original specifications, but that was not done in a very good way, as we can show you later on. We have to do a lot of work to get this bike on that level. The wheels were not original, not in any way as they should be.
Well, this is a picture of quite original brake caliper plate. The caliper plate, as we saw, was not original.
So this is going to be reused after complete refurbishing, but what we found here is that the hub is actually not original. So this should be rubber, but what we actually found is, well, something that has quite deteriorated over time, that is cannot be used again. So we need to come up with something new here. Again, we will do a lot of work in-house. Well, we're only just talking about the wheels at this stage of the restoration. And then we also made a tutorial on how to install a modern ignition system on a 750 Sport, which can also be very useful for later models like the 860. Ducatis have a similar system. So in this instance we're going to fit a upgraded ignition system, which is made by a company called Sachse in Germany, and that is going to be fitted. It's completely modern in the sense that it is digital. We're going to focus on the 750 round case, and for that we need this whole system. This is actually the Sachse ignition system. These are all the parts. Now it comes with a description, but the whole reason for doing this video is that we never liked the explanation in this very much, according to the manual that is delivered with the system. It's actually quite simple. So we got this all wired up, as you can see here, and the ignition housing, the original ignition housing on the round case, engine. And then we have the rotor. First, how to find top dead center, and then to set the ignition system accordingly. Now, this is a special tool made for Ducati engines, twin engines. Now let's go to finding top dead center, which gives us the opportunity to fit our special tool. Now the pin on there is long enough to prevent the piston from going all the way up. So the piston will move down now, and then up again, top dead center. There it is. So now it's just a matter of getting those screws a little more tight in there to make sure that that rotor stays where it should be. So that's actually what we recently uploaded up until this first Christmas special. So hopefully you've enjoyed it, and looking forward to a lot of projects for next year. We have a huge amount of work to do. We don't have to worry about anything in that department. A lot of restorations going on, a lot of bikes to even to first finish, but also bikes that are also already waiting for a restoration with us, or service to be done to them, or other sort of things. So be sure to follow our channel and keep an eye out for more of these videos that will surely come. Oh nee, pak hem! Wat een puinhoop. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year!